Hi, and welcome to this lesson on inequalities. In this problem, which is number 7 from a recent test that we had in my Algebra 1 math class, we're going to take a look at a compound inequality where you have a variable expression in between two values. So essentially we have two inequality equations in one, and my recommendation would be to go ahead and break that up into separate equations. It's going to make it a little bit easier for us to keep track of everything and solve. So to rewrite this as two separate equations, we have negative 2 is less than 3n plus 4, and we have 3n plus 4 is less than 5. So we're simply taking the one long equation that we see at the top, and we're splitting it up into two parts. Now we can solve for n in both cases. So to isolate the variable, we subtract 4 from both sides, and that will give us negative 6 is less than 3n. We then divide 3 to give us negative 2 is less than n. For that equation, we also have to solve in the same way on this equation. So what's our first step here? If you said subtract 4 from both sides, that's correct. So we subtract 4, and we're left with 3n is less than 1. And now to get n by itself, what do we do here? If you said divide by 3, that's correct on this one. Divided by 3 gives us n is less than 1/3. Now that we've solved for n in both cases, if we want to make it look like one equation the way we started out, we can put these terms back together. N is greater than negative 2, and n is less than 1/3, we can write as one compound inequality. Negative 2 is less than n, which is less than 1/3. And this is what we want to graph on our number line. So to do that part of it, we have a number line, and I oftentimes recommend using 0 as a good frame of reference to keep track of where everything is. So in this case, we just put 0 down. It lets us know when we're looking at positives and negatives relative to 0. It just helps us keep everything organized when we go to plot our points on the number line. So we have a negative 2, which will be to the left of 0, and we have a positive 1/3, which will be to the right of 0. And in making our circles to go ahead and graph this inequality on the number line, we need to keep track of the signs that we have. When you have the line underneath, which means or equal to, then you're going to use a closed circle. But in this case, because we just have n is greater than negative 2 and n is less than 1/3, but there's no or equal to, that means we're going to use an open circle. So we have an open circle at each of those points on our number line, and when we fill in greater than negative 2, greater than means we're going to fill in to the right of negative 2, and less than 1/3 means we're filling in to the left. So we see that our solution set will converge in the middle between those 2 points. If you have additional questions, please see our other videos which cover some of the other questions from the exam and from some of the topics that we're covering in class. Otherwise, if you'd like to see additional content covered, please feel free to leave suggestions, and we'll be sure to post video responses so that we can get everyone up to speed. Thanks for watching.